Okay, so let's move on to our presentation, which is pretty exciting. I had the opportunity to attend a virtual meeting for the Houston Electric Auto Club down in Houston. And Larry was making a presentation down there, Larry Brassfield, who's one of our presenters today, in regards to their urban utility vehicles. And I thought it was just apropos that we have them come up here and present to Dallas as well. And his associate is Mary Brown. Their bios are on our website and everything. I won't, they can talk a little bit more, but they both have a lot of experience in regards to both fleets, school buses, utility vehicles. But, Lion Electric Company is a leader and an innovator in electric vehicles. And so I want to turn it over to them, let them go forward. Larry, if you can share your screen, we can get going.
Fantastic. Thank you. Can you guys all hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
All righty. Yeah, thank you so much for having us. And yeah, Maria is a great addition to our team. She's come to us with a very extensive background on the bus business. And you'll hear more about us as we go. But yeah, thank you all for your time. I do have a PowerPoint presentation that I'm going to go through, the first part of which is actually a video. So,
of zero emission, design and manufacture all electric class 5 to class 8 commercial urban trucks and all electric buses and minibuses for the school, paratransit, and mass transit segments. Lion is a North American leader in electric transportation and designs, and we build and assemble all of our vehicles' components, including chassis, battery packs, truck cabins, and bus bodies. Let me introduce you to Lion Electric's facility in St. Jerome, Canada. Lion's operations cover 200,000 square feet, and we have the capacity to produce 2,500 vehicles a year. In this dynamic open space, which encourages collaboration and communication between teams, a variety of departments like sales, marketing, purchasing, legal, operations, and accounting work in synergy. In our research and development team, we have more than 100 full-time engineers to feed our innovation process. All products are conceptualized, designed, developed, and manufactured by Lion. Our vehicles are purpose-built and dedicated to being 100% electric. We are constantly developing new technologies and applications, and also working on improving our vehicles that are already on the road. This is our shop where we keep our robust parts inventory. We have several million parts in stock. At Lion Electric, we also assemble our own battery packs. We have developed our own battery management system, BMS, and battery thermal management system, BTMS, to maximize the safety and performance of our batteries in all situations, from extreme heat to sub-zero Siberian temperatures. Here is our truck assembly line. All our vehicles are fully developed, engineered, and assembled here at Lion. We also have our own paint shop, where we paint our truck frames to ensure a high-performance chassis with adequate rust prevention. Then all the other components, batteries, low-voltage and high-voltage wiring harnesses, and cab are mated to the chassis itself. This is where Lion Electric produces trucks, and we have just reviewed the production of our Lion 8 and Lion 6 trucks. Just like we do for Lion's trucks, our buses start with 2 frame rails, which will become the bus chassis. Axles, wheels, powertrain, and batteries are then added to the frame, along with supporting components. We are extremely proud of the fact that we build all of our vehicles ourselves, from start to finish. This is the Lion C and Lion D body assembly line, where our full-size school buses are manufactured. We start by assembling the floor structure, front and rear sections, and side panels, which are made of composite materials to reduce weight and prevent rust. Then the insulation, low-voltage wiring harnesses, and windows are added. We couple frame and body together. This is the production flow of our bus assembly line. While the chassis are built, the bodies are assembled in the adjacent area simultaneously. After mounting the two together, it's time to move the bus to the finishing steps. The final stages of vehicle production include connecting the electrical components, mounting the front bumper, and calibration of the onboard systems. These are very important steps for Lion because in the end, the small details make all the difference and cannot be overlooked. All of our vehicles are then inspected and subjected to quality control with the highest standards, including on-road testing. This is our Lion A and Lion M product line. The Lion A is intended for schools with special needs students, while the Lion M is a shuttle minibus. This vehicle platform is highly customizable and has great driver visibility. This is one of the most exciting areas in our facility, the prototyping area, where ideas come to life. Once the engineering drawings are finalized and approved, we begin building our prototype vehicles. These are the actual vehicles that will be used for certification. Each vehicle is then certified and exceeds the highest safety standards. With some of the expansion we've done in our facility, we have a state-of-the-art service area with easy exterior access. In addition, we also have service centers all over North America to support our customers directly in their home markets. This allows us to conveniently maintain our vehicles, as well as provide on-site training to our customers. These locations are used to prepare our vehicles for delivery as well. As you have seen, Lion Electric is very real. In fact, we have over 300 vehicles on the road right now, with more than 6 million real-world miles driven. We are currently manufacturing and delivering electric trucking solutions, as well as electric buses to transport students and individuals. We have 7 different types of 100% electric heavy-duty vehicles available today. And in 2021, we will increase to 11. Lion Electric, the bright move.
Okay, Larry, can I have you reshare your screen for your PowerPoint presentation?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Michael. I am a truck salesman, not an AV guy.
Don't worry. I mean, between me and everyone else on this group, we would have been able to figure it out.
That's great. So let me get back into presentation mode. And that video is just very recently done by our marketing department, as I had mentioned, and touches on many things that I will reiterate here as we go through. So Lion today, we've got over 400 employees, several thousand, indirect employees. We do have a manufacturing facility, as the video stated, with capacity of 2,500 electric vehicles. That is bus and truck combined. We have over 300 buses currently in operation in Canada and North America, with over 6 million miles accumulated. We have experience centers throughout North America. You see them on the map here. The blue ones are current existing facilities. St. Jerome, it's about 40 minutes north of Montreal, province of Quebec. The last French-speaking, so we have, I think Maria probably will share a chuckle here. We get a lot of correspondence in both French and English. And I've learned a term which is Franglish. So they will take English words and mash them with a French accent, and that is Franglish, which is what we communicate in. But the experience centers, it is not a dealership. It is more than that. It is a facility where we will host training sessions for drivers, technicians, operators, and the like, in addition to having parts and service support as well. I mentioned there, in our hometown of St. Jerome, also outside of Albany, New York, in the Seattle, Washington area, Sacramento in the Northern California, and then Los Angeles in the Southern California. You see the gray designations there. We will be opening in Arizona and also in Jacksonville, Florida. Our product line evolution, I can touch on real quickly. Our company was founded in 2008, and at the beginning of the video, you may have seen one individual there sitting behind a desk. That's our co-founder and president. His name is Mark Bedard. And Mark came from the school bus industry prior to starting Lion. He and the co-founder, they had background in the bus business, which gave them visibility. And part of our DNA is, they say, you know, we like to say, if we're going to be different, we have to be better. And so with that, they came into product evolution, and they wanted to change and improve upon the bus that was being built and delivered throughout the industry. And if you take a look at the first bus there, that diesel type C, it is a 102 wide rather than a 96. We were one of the first OEMs to go to the wider bus, which allowed for seat belts for all passengers. The other thing the video talked about, and even you may have noticed, the single piece roof. It is a fiberglass composite material. And the reason for that, and Maria can expound on this, in the bus industry, those typical legacy school buses have thousands of rivets along the roofs and throughout the body. And no matter how good of a job you do of caulking those rivets and being steadfast in your installation, inevitably, as a bus bounces down the road and stands the rigors of time and miles and all that, inevitably moisture will get in, and you will have oxidation and rust from the inside out. It's almost like having arthritis, to where it just really compromises the structural integrity. So they really wanted to improve the bus body. That's where they came up with that single piece roof, which was a big evolution for us. They knew that they wanted to do something bigger and better beyond the bus, and they knew that alternative power was in the roadmap for us. Looked at some of the natural gases, looked at propane, decided to go electric. And in 2016, launched our first pure electric bus. And from there, as I mentioned, we've sold and delivered over 300 more that have accumulated over 6 million miles. Last year in 2019, we launched, you see in the middle there, the van body truck, the Lion 8. It is an urban truck, and that was a year and a half ago. That was our tandem axle Class 8 van body truck. That is really the first truck that we had in our product line. You also see that we did introduce the mini bus, and then you see the flat front on the Lion A there as well. In 2020, we introduced the Lion 8 refuse truck. We are the first OEM to have a pure electric body on a pure electric chassis. We've partnered with a company in Canada called Boyven Evolution, BEV. They bring 40 years trash bodybuilding experience and brought that, and they launched BEV, and we have a pure electric automated side loader. We will have a rear and a front loader in the near future, but right now that side loader is the industry's first pure electric body on a pure electric chassis. It is the most efficient when it comes to energy consumption, and it also gives you the lowest cost of maintenance, because you eliminate all those hydraulics and all the things that come with it. Looking at the roadmap and where we're going, you see the Lion D, also in a truck, the aerial lift, which is something that I'm really excited about. That is the tandem axle truck chassis, and we are working with a company in Canada right now, Posi Plus, as well as talking to some of the other United States-based aerial lift manufacturers to integrate their bodies onto our chassis. But we see great potential in that industry segment, because again, you can just really take advantage when you take that body and you put it on a pure electric chassis. And it just makes great sense as we're talking to municipalities and power providers, whether that would be Commonwealth Edison in the Midwest, or Exelon or others. CenterPoint would be one down in Texas that you would all recognize. We see a lot of potential there as well.
Hey, Mark, Larry, do you mind if I ask a question? We've already started getting a couple questions. Would you prefer that we get through your presentation before we start asking questions, or do you mind me interjecting every now and then and asking questions?
Let us get through, because we may answer some of these as we go.
Okay.
And then we did have the other Q&A that we will go through, and I think we may address some of these and then lead into that, anything else not addressed from there.
All right, continue. I apologize for interrupting.
No worries, all good. We've got here in Q4 2020 the Lion 8 tractor that will probably not launch until first quarter next year. We are very excited to be building and delivering our Class 6 truck right now. You guys may have heard of a online fulfillment company called Amazon. Who hasn't? They deliver to my house a couple times a week. And through the pandemic, they're really growing. But we are very proud to say that we were fortunate enough to be awarded some significant business. We're not able to disclose the quantities, but I can tell you that it is a multi-vehicle master supply agreement. And we do look forward to trucks delivering product here, hopefully before Black Friday. And that is in that Lion 6, which is a Class 6 chassis. If you look over to the right, 2021, we do have a Class 5 and a Class 7 truck coming out. We will have a boom truck chassis as well. We're also really excited in that Class 5 market to have an ambulance chassis. And we really are expanding the product line, so we will truly be a medium and heavy duty EV truck manufacturer, really to be reckoned with. I like to tell people we are the emerging leader in the EV truck business. We're doing what other people are talking about. Continuing on here, you know, I love speaking to a friendly audience, and when you look at, you know, why are customers, fleets looking at going EV? It is because transportation really is, you know, one of the largest, you know, polluters, sources of pollutions, whether it's NOx and particulates in the greenhouse gas emissions. The general public, almost, you know, 92% believe that EV is the way to go. Less than 10% know about them. And then an even smaller percentage are actually buying them. So it's really an education. Why go electric? Again, you know, speaking to you, the friendly audience, one thing that I love about electric trucks is we don't reduce emissions, we eliminate them. This is a zero emission solution. And not only in the value proposition with electric vehicles, we talk about the fuel savings, but another significant portion of that is the maintenance reduction. As I talk to fleet owners and operators, I'll ask them, you know, what are your most difficult components and most expensive components to maintain? And they say engine, transmission, fuel, and exhaust systems. Well, we don't have those. And so really you just eliminate so many of those things. And we project a conservative 60% reduction in your overall maintenance costs. And actually that is in the first 4 or 5 years of ownership. If you actually extend it out years 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, those maintenance savings can really compound over time. Another thing is the trucks are so quiet, no noise pollution, and that's something that we hear directly from the drivers, the operators themselves. I'd love to say that our trucks and our buses, they're quiet, they're cool, and they're smooth. The health impact, you know, is just really hard to quantify, but you've got a driver who is more alert because he can hear what's going on. He doesn't have the vibration, the heat, all those things coming from a diesel engine. So it's hard to quantify, but it is certainly something to take note of. I mentioned the greenhouse gas reduction, safety. Our trucks with and buses with the regenerative braking, they are the safest. You do have I like to say up to a 50% reduction in your stopping distance. Driving a bus or a truck with the electric solution, as you let off the accelerator, no different than a car. As you let off the accelerator, you are immediately throwing power back to the batteries, but you're also slowing it down. It's like having the Jake brake in the #3 setting. And from that, you reduce your braking distance and you increase your brake life. Calculating total cost of ownership is something that we always have to go through because it is a value proposition. Our vehicles do cost more, but the cost of ownership certainly is there. It's not a matter of if you're going to get your return on your investment, it's a matter of when. As I mentioned, really it's the value proposition comes from eliminating the fuel and the diesel exhaust fuel that goes with it, as well as the maintenance cost reduction. The video touched on it, and we like to really emphasize the fact, purpose-built to be electric. And we say that, and what we mean when we say that, there's other OEMs that are doing remans and retrofits. We do not do that. We buy our frame rails from the same suppliers that Peterbilt and Kenworth do. And those frame rails, that's the spine of the truck. If you get a chance to go to an assembly plant, the buses and trucks, the frame rails come in first, the axles get dropped in, and from there, the foundation of the truck and the bus are built, and you see them go through their stages. But we build it from the ground up. We build our own cabs, and we're not going to retrofit or reman anything. And we like to say, when you do that, you put things where they belong rather than putting them where they fit. You see over on the left, this is really important. When you compare an electric motor to a diesel, look at the parts difference there, 20 versus 2000. And of those 20, I believe 3 of them are moving. The rest are coils and magnets. So just the parts reduction alone, and then you correlate that into the total vehicle, is tremendous. And that is, again, another factor where you're going to have that significant maintenance cost reduction. We do assemble our own battery packs. We are looking at putting our own battery assembly plant together in the near future. That's something that we're very proud of. We currently have more kilowatt hours available than any other OEM on the market. I talked about the composite body with the bus that correlates into the cab as well. When you do that composite material and you build it from the ground up, you eliminate opportunity for rust, corrosion, paint, all those things, which is a reduction of downtime. I talked about the regen braking system. The brakes, they really do last 3 times as long. When I'm doing a cost of ownership analysis for a truck customer, they're doing brakes. If they're not doing them every year, they're doing them every other year. And that is just taken so much further out, especially, most customers are going to operate their vehicles for at least 5, 7, if not 10 years. And you can actually eliminate 2 or 3 brake jobs over the life of the vehicle. You eliminate the component cost as well as the labor cost. I talked about the fact that we don't retrofit or reman. Born to be electric, that's us. Pure electric, it's all that we do, and we do it really well. We custom built our cab, and we've had great response, and Maria may talk about this. In fact, she just delivered a couple buses down in Indianapolis last week. But everything is there for the drivers, whether they're tall or short, big or small, everything is there, and the drivers really do appreciate the cab construction that we offer. when we talk to customers about electrification, there's really 5 main components. First of all, we have to make sure it's going to fit the need. You know, as a truck salesman, my job is to really find out what they're using their truck for, what are their needs for payload, what are their needs for range, what is their terrain, you know, are they pulling out of docks, do they have hills, are they going off-road, what are the mileage, you know, parameters that they're operating in, what are their duty cycles, because quite honestly right now we don't have a truck that will fit 100% of 100, you know, we don't have a fit that will meet all needs of every customer. We do have modular battery pack solutions, but the more questions I ask, the more I can understand about an operation, because we want to make sure if we're putting a truck into your operation, it's going to work. And that's where I have to really be diligent about those factors. You know, again, the payload, the range, the terrain, the duty cycle requirements. So once we find, you know, that our truck could fit those needs, at that point, we start putting our proposal together. And just like electric cars, it is a value proposition. Our trucks and buses, they are significantly more than a diesel. But again, it is a total cost of ownership proposition. We go through that. And again, as I stated, whenever I go through a TCO with customer, it's not if you're going to get your money back, it's a matter of when. Now, as part of that, there are some significant funding opportunities, especially in places like Texas. We see great opportunity with Texas because they've got some of the richest funding opportunities through the VW Mitigation Trust Fund, also through the DERA, and even sometimes through the Department of Energy. There's different grants available. We've got a team of people at corporate. We've got 5 or 6 full-time people that are there looking for these grant opportunities, and they work with our end users, whether it's the school districts or the municipality or the fleets, to help them customize their application. They take it from application all the way through the process. And even if there are administration requirements for documenting throughout the life of the vehicle, we can assist with that. So that's great. It's going to work. You're going to find a way to pay for it. You know that the ROI is going to be there. How are you going to charge it? We've got a team internally that we call Lion Energy. It's a group of engineers and project managers that take a very complex situation and they simplify it. And really what we do is we introduce them to the district, the municipality, or the fleet, and they ask questions. Who is your power provider? What do you have? How many vehicles? What are your charging requirements? And we have a non-proprietary charging solution. We have partnered with a company called ABB. They're a global leader in electrification charging systems. And whether it's a level 2 or a fast charge cabinet, we work with our customers to make sure that we're going to be able to get power out to the charging cabinets, get those charging cabinets installed, and the solution is there. The other thing is, are we looking to do this on a couple vehicles? Or are we going to be looking at doing it fleet-wide over time? And if so, what's that going to look like? Lastly, the Lion Academy is, again, an internal support team to help with the training, the maintenance, the monitoring, all the things that come with the owning and operating of electric buses and trucks. The Lion Academy, here to support you. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Maria to tell you a little bit more about our bus line.
All right, thank you, Larry. I appreciate it. Just to let you know, I am the regional sales manager for the Southeast for school bus. So I'm going to go ahead and go through our school bus line and give you a little more detail on that. So Larry, if you could, next slide. So like you saw in the video and in the roadmap earlier, we do offer the A, C, and D. And so like Larry mentioned, there's a lot of components that are going to be similar to what you see on a school bus, and then obviously those components that are going to be different. So when you look at the frame rails, these are going to be the same kind of frame rails that are in all school buses. Your suspension systems, your braking systems, your steering systems, they're all going to be similar to what you're used to in a school bus. But obviously it doesn't have an engine, right? So all of our buses are equipped with a TM4 electric drive motor. So with this drive motor, there is not a transmission that is needed. It also starts automatically, so you don't need a starter, and it has no noise. It obviously has no emissions, and you don't need oil changes. So it's a low maintenance product, unlike the engines that you are used to in a diesel or gas. So the next thing is on the battery packs, you can see listed here on the under the A, C, and D, we have different kilowatt hours that are offered. And so, and above there is the miles. So this is the range that you're going to get based on the kilowatt hours that you choose. And so the reason that we do this is you can really customize what you need for your fleet or for the routes that you're running. So if you're running, say you have a route at, and it's going 80 miles in the morning, well, you don't necessarily need a 210 kilowatt hour bus. You can go to, the lower, the 126, or even the 168. The 210 would just be overkill for what you actually need. And so, this really differentiates us from our competitors. We want to be able to give you that option to customize your fleet as you need it without overkilling on the battery power that you need. The other thing I want to touch on, like Larry mentioned too, is the width of our bus, the standard width of a school bus is 96 inches. And like he mentioned, on the C and D, we do offer a 102. And this is really beneficial. It gives you extra space down the aisle on the inside of the bus. And this is great for, say there's a situation where you have an emergency evacuation, and so all the students can easily get out of the bus quicker. It makes it more efficient. We also hear it's from drivers that, they really like it. They have to go to the back of the bus every day, right, to hit that child check system, or whether it's to access a lift or what have you. And it's just easier for them to get down that aisle, gives them a little more space. And like Larry said, I was in Indianapolis last week and just talking to the driver, and they really don't notice a difference with that additional 6 inches. We had it going down just, side roads where cars were parked, and that 6 inches really is insignificant to the driver. So Larry, if you could, next slide. Larry, did I lose you? There you go. Okay, so we get asked all the time, how do our buses perform, or how do our buses and trucks perform in extreme weathers, or extreme climates? So we have buses running from all the way from South Florida to up into Canada. And just like you and I, we all have our temperature that we're most comfortable being at, right? And so batteries are the same way. They like to be in that 70, 75 range where they're going to run most efficiently. And so what we have is a heating element, and then also an AC compressor that manages the temperature of those batteries. So as it gets too cold or as it gets too warm, that heating element or that AC compressor will click on, and it'll ensure that those batteries stay at that optimal temperature. Okay, next slide. So like Larry mentioned, also the grant team that we have, so you're ready to go electric, you're ready to put an electric vehicle into your fleet. So what are the next steps? We have a grant team, like you mentioned, that can find funding in your region, and they can help you with completing the application. They will write the application for you, really tell your story, really help you with getting that grant. So next slide. I think Larry, you're up next. So Larry's going to go through and talk about our truck line.
Great, thanks, Maria. Some of this will be repetitive, so I'm going to try and keep moving here quickly. We like to be body agnostic. Really, we are building and delivering trucks. So you see several different configurations here, from a crane to a stake bed to a refrigerated body and even a utility body. We like to think of ourselves as master integrators. So our job is to work with the different body manufacturers and help engineer their bodies onto our trucks. I mentioned the pure electric side loader truck that you'll see here as well. But it's really very important for us to just work with the different body manufacturers so we can customize solutions that work for our customers. I mentioned the Lion 8 here on the right. This is our flagship. We launched that a year and a half ago, March of 2019. It is a tandem drive axle there at the rear. Range on this truck is up to 150 miles. We do have a smaller battery pack configuration. And then I also talked about the Lion 6, which is a true non-CDL 26,000 pound gross vehicle weight rated truck. It actually has a little bit greater range potential as you've got a little bit lesser weight capacity necessary. Interesting side note is the Lion 6 was not on our roadmap until 2021, until things got very hot and heavy with Amazon. We found out that their desire and interest in our product was sincere and genuine. And with their interest in the opportunity, we moved it forward, and we are currently building the Lion 6, and we just see great potential for that. As I mentioned, with non-CDL configurations, there's a lot of different opportunities for us to grow the market with that truck. I talked about our pure electric refuse truck, the side loader. That is really our #1 seller right now. I'm excited to be working with different municipalities as well as the private companies in that segment. There is a strong program in Texas specifically for the refuse industry. You see savings when you go to that pure electric body versus the hydraulically driven. You eliminate a lot of the parts and therefore downtime and cost. Some of you may not be aware, but a diesel or even a CNG powered refuse truck can get between 2 and 3 miles per gallon. The trucks are normally getting in the 6 to 8 range, but that body is so heavy and the application is so strenuous that their consumption is reduced down to that 2 or 3 miles per gallon. So when you go to pure electric body over the pure electric chassis, that's where you get the most efficient consumption rate as well as the lowest cost of ownership. We do have, it is actually lighter than the hydraulic body. And when you eliminate the hydraulic, you just eliminate a lot of the maintenance. As I mentioned, 1,000 to 1,200 homes per day. That is actually arm movements. I'm going to keep moving here. I talked about the aerial lift, also known as a bucket truck. We see great potential. Again, these are typically low mileage, but then the consumption is going to be how many lifts per day does that aerial lift go through. And we work with the different OEMs. I'm sorry, I got to let my roommate out. He's just bothering me. Sorry about that. But the integrated solution, we're working with a company up in Canada called Posi. It is not a pure electric aerial lift, but we do have an ePTO to work with them, especially if you're going up on the power lines that you can't have the electric lift mechanism, but the ePTO would be powering that. And we're also working with Alltech and some of the other aerial lift manufacturers. You can see over here on the right, we've actually gotten to the point where we can factor and calculate what is the consumption rate going to be when you're pulling the AC through off our battery packs. What is the heat consumption factor? What is the bucket operation? What is that? So when we do that, we know which battery pack we will need to specify and quote for those operations. The tractor, really excited about this. We'll be looking to release that Q1 next year. We did have an announcement about a month or so ago. Canadian Northern, CN Rail, one of the leaders in the intermodal truck market, gave us a commitment for an order of 50. And we're really, really excited about it. One thing I didn't talk about before that I'm sure you've all have recognized with the trucks is the flat front, as they call it in the bus world. In the truck world, it's oftentimes referred to as a cab over, but we don't call it a cab over because there's no engine for it to be over. This is a cab forward configuration. There's one reason we went to the cab forward design, and that is visibility. You can have an adult standing within arm's length, touching the hood, clearly visible from that window right there. You're also going to have the tightest turning radius possible. You see this huge torque number. That's because the torque on demand that you get when you go EV. The range on this truck as it stands right now is 210. And as battery technology continues to evolve, we look for those ranges to continue to improve. And that range is with the 588 kilowatt battery pack. All our trucks come with level 2 or level 3 charging capacity. Continuing to move along. I mentioned before, one of the support mechanisms, Lion Beat, is our own telematic system that will allow the management and the operations managers to have visibility to the truck's performance or the bus. That will show state of charge, that will show battery health, also showing consumption levels, how much range do they have, and if there's anything going on, even if it's a tire pressure management, the TPM, it'll give you an indicator, say, hey, your right rear inner tire is low. So it can oftentimes send off alerts, and it can just really give you great management tools to really operate the vehicles most efficiently. And with that, again, reducing that cost of ownership. I mentioned how we are level 2 and level 3 capable, and we use ABB for our charging solutions. On the Lion 6, the level 2 J1772 charging system is available, as well as the different fast charging combination charging systems, whether that's 25, 50, or even 100 kilowatt per hour charging solutions, is some of the very rigorous operations need, whether it's multiple trucks or just very tight windows for charging. The fast charging system is available. All of our vehicles are built as V2G ready. And people are V2G, well, that's vehicle to grid. And actually, we like to say it's V2X. It could be vehicle to vehicle. And Maria may be able to expand upon this, but I believe we've got operators down in Florida where we've got some bus fleets that they're working to have their power for their buses when they're not running. They're going to be using those to provide power to storm shelters when hurricanes come. So that is just a next level thing, and really thinking out of the box, and we just see great potential for that. And it also goes back to why I'm really excited about calling on the different power and the utility providers. There's no reason that CenterPoint Energy or somebody else, they ought to be driving electric trucks, right? And especially if you've got V2G capabilities, it just makes sense to me. So when it comes down to it and people ask, well, wait a second, you know, we've seen these legacy diesel OEMs, whether it's on the bus or the truck side, they've been around, but you guys say you're the leader. Why? Well, one word, experience. With the 300 vehicles and the 6 million miles, nobody else can say that. We are on our 5th generation of our battery management system. That just continues to evolve and get better and better and better. Between that and the fact that we've got the folks internally on our grant team, as well as within Lion Energy to help get the infrastructure, all those things, nobody else has that. And that's really what we believe makes us the leader. We've got our contact information here, and Maria and I are just really excited about the opportunity in Texas. And again, I said it before, and I don't even know if Maria was on, but my territory is the Mid-South. I didn't get a chance to tell you that. It's Texas and then 5 states that surrounding them. But when I put my business plan together, it's 80% Texas, 20% the other 5 states combined. Very simply because it's where the biggest fleets are, and it's where the most significant funds are. And when I look at all the different groups that are really supporting the move to alternative power, we're just really, really thrilled about the opportunity in Texas, and for Michael and I to meet on that Houston Electric Auto Association, and he was chatting me. We exchanged phone numbers and we started talking, and man, Michael and I get talking, and I just, that's where he talked about this group. I see the potential. Really, really excited about it. So that concludes the PowerPoint.